Good morning, y'all. I hope you're doing well on this lovely Friday morning. I'm actually recording on Thursday, but you know it's so I can get this out early. If I record it on the day, it always takes a little longer. But anyway, today I wanted to share a new experience I have had with you yesterday. This week I learned that anyone in the country can order a rapid COVID test kit. It's the same ones they're doing at like workplaces that takes like half an hour, but it's a do-it-yourself at-home kit. It's free to anyone if you go to the government website. And I think they're hoping that as things open up, people who are going out and about will take the opportunity to just test regularly to make sure that they're good to go before, going out and potentially spreading it. The idea being that, 1 in 3 people have it without having symptoms. And so I feel fine. I've felt fine. But I thought, I haven't had a COVID test ever because, I haven't had any symptoms ever. And I thought, I have both a wedding and a funeral coming up in the next week. It might be nice just to, have a kit on hand. And since I'm going to be going out more, as most of us are, to go ahead and start testing regularly. And so, yesterday I got it in the mail. In the post, sorry. And I opened it up, and it has 7, little test kits you can use they say like twice a week is a good example. And so I opened it up, and I followed all the instructions, and I did the whole swabbing thing, and it wasn't as bad as I anticipated, which was good. And then, got it all very chemistry lab-esque set up on my kitchen counter, and set it aside, and then you had to wait. You had to set your timer for half an hour. It said, do not look, it has to be half an hour. Too early and it won't show up, and too late and it could be void and not worth anything anymore. So I said, okay. So I set it on the kitchen counter. I set the kitchen timer for half an hour, and then I made a cup of tea and sat down in the living room to wait. And as I mentioned, I don't expect to have COVID. I haven't really been all that many places in the past week, and I don't have any symptoms. But that waiting for half an hour was one of the hardest things, because it starts going through your head. Well, I don't think I have it, but what if I do have it? Is that a bad thing? Maybe it's a good thing because I don't have any symptoms, and that would mean that if I have it and don't have any symptoms, then I'm doing all right. But it's like you start spinning into all these different scenarios of what could happen if it happens to be positive, and what does that mean, and what does that look like, and all these things. And I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people who tends to spin off into all the different scenarios. Anytime a decision comes up, anytime I'm waiting for something to happen, I start to think about all the possible outcomes and what I'm going to do in each and every individual outcome. It takes a lot of brain space, honestly. All of the spinning, and my poor family can attest that they often hear all of my backup options just in case things go awry. And I was thinking of that waiting yesterday, and about how really silly it was, because it was going to be half an hour of my life, and whatever happened, it wasn't going to change a whole lot. Aside from, I guess if I was positive, I'd have to find backup options for the various things I had scheduled, but that would be all right. But still, the waiting itself was the hard part, and I thought, I need to think about this. Why is the waiting so hard? And the psalm that always comes to mind when I think about waiting is one that encourages us to wait. Psalm 24, it says, "Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord." And obviously it's not just talking about a half an hour, but it's talking about throughout our entire lives, all those things that are going on, that we have to be in this in-between space, in this waiting space. It feels very Lenten a lot of times for us to talk about waiting, but even though we've made it to Easter, we still find that we're in periods of waiting, don't we? We did our first Alpha session Wednesday evening, which was really good, and we still have some people joining us next week, so if anyone's interested, feel free to message me or Anne or email us, and we'll get you on board to start next week. But we started this week, and one of the questions that we asked at the very end of the session was, if God does exist out there, and you could ask God any question, what would you ask? take a minute to think about that. If you could ask God any question, what would you ask? And I think a lot of us probably would ask the same sorts of things. And I didn't say this one at the meeting, but it occurred to me as I was thinking about this today. I think I would be really tempted to ask, what's going to happen, in my personal life, in our community, and on the global stage. What's going to happen next? It would be so tempting to know, is everything going to be okay? And if it's not, how can I prepare for the worst case scenario? What exactly should I be doing right now in my life to have the best possible trajectory? I feel like I'd be very tempted to ask these questions. And obviously, they're not questions we can ask, are they? Except when I thought about what the answer might be if I was to get that chance to ask that question, I thought of another well-known quote. There is an English mystic many years ago, Julian of Norwich, who you may have heard of, and she's known for one of her quotes that says, "All shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well." And she was writing during a time of plague, and so it wasn't coming from some happy-go-lucky, everything's fine all the time. It was coming from a deep place of discomfort and of unknowing and of struggling. And yet she was able to affirm all shall be well, because that's the heart of our faith, is that, yeah, we're going to go through times of waiting and seasons of upheaval and of not knowing exactly what's going to happen next. But in the end, all shall be well. And if we wait on the Lord and take heart and take courage, we'll get there. We'll get there through God's strength. And so today, as you think about all those things you have in your personal life, in the life of the circuit, in the life of the community, and in the world, think about all those things that you're waiting on, that you're looking ahead to try and figure out what's going to happen, and think about how you're waiting, how you're waiting in those situations, and what you can do to wait more on the Lord and to take strength from God's grace in these, because all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. So take care today, enjoy the sunshine, and we'll see you later.